Hello GBU fans and welcome back. My name is DDubble, but you could just call me Dell. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are taking on Keegan and the Flygon Olympique. Before we get the video started, if you can, please leave a like down below, click subscribe, turn on bell notifications. We're trying to get to 1500 by the end of the year here. I think it's super doable, especially with all the love and support that you guys have been showing me lately. We're going to hop right into it here with our quick little team builder before the video, and then we'll go over a couple different things that I can see happening in the game and what we need to assess before getting into this battle. To start off, we have Chien Pao, Thriller, Choice Banded Crunch, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, and Sacred Sword. Max attack, 160 speed, Jolly Nature. This is so that we can outspeed Screamtail, as well as maximizing our damage, with enough defense to help us live some hits from likes of Baxcalibur, Gyarados, and even Ursaluna and Houndstone. Pretty standard set. We want to be banded so that we can revenge things with banded Ice Shard, especially a potential Gyarados when it terras. If that thing goes +1 or +2, can be a major problem. Pretty standard Chien Pao this week. I think it's going to do really well. Next up is Kilowattrel, our Terra Captain this week. Water type Terra, Thunderbolt, U-Turn, Terra Blast, and Air Slash. 240 speed, positive nature and timid there. 16 HP, and 252 attack. This guy's basically just here to help us outspeed the Greninja. If it's Scarf Gran, then we're not catching it anyways, but just so that we can outspeed it if it is not Choice Scarfed. It can also help us with a Gyarados if it is potential Terra Flying and doesn't have the likes of Stone Edge or Icicle Fang, and even if it does, we can always Terra Water and hopefully live one of those hits as long as it's not too boosted up. U-Turn allows for us to click momentum into some of our Choice Scarf Pokemon that you're going to see here in the back, especially against something like Ursaluna. We don't want to be locked in to having to click Volt Switch to get out. It'll also help us with Tinglu, so pretty good pivot out of Kilowattrel this week. Very excited to finally have it on our team. Next up is Cleavor, Choice Scarf, Stone Axe, U-Turn, Close Combat, and X-Scissor. Just max speed with a little bit of a speed creep there, just down to the Gyarados. 252 attack and 32 HP. Stone Axe allows us to set up rocks, in which Keegan actually does not have removal on his team outside of Serena. And if the Serena is in, then we just get to click X Scissor or U-Turn against it, which is super exciting. This guy also helps us deal with the Screamtail, giving us potential 2-hit KOs against certain sets, and it also does a really nice job into the Baxcalibur. Choice Scarf Cleavor, allowing for us to potentially revenge a slower version of Baxcalibur, something like an SD, i.e. Swords Dance, Ice Shard set. So yeah, that's our Cleavor for the week. Next up is Gardevoir, also Choice Scarf, Trace, Moonblast, Shadow Ball, the newly acquired Vacuum Wave, and Healing Wish. We are 96 HP, 252 attack, Modest Nature, and 156 speed. Now, this is so that we can outspeed a non-Choice Scarf Greninja. The idea behind this was to give us an idea of what his Scarfers might be, and then go from there. Vacuum Wave allows for us to revenge potential Baxcaliburs as long as they're not Dragon Dance, especially if he wants to click Ice Shard against us, fearing that he might be slower. Also helps us into things like Greninja in the end game there. If it is a faster Greninja, we can still Vacuum Wave. If all hope is lost and our Gardevoir is about to go down as well, and when it only has a couple bits of HP left, we can also click Healing Wish, pass that potentially into something like our Chestnut, or even our Chien Pao in that case. So that's going to be our Gardevoir for the week. Next up is Iron Treads, Mirror Herb, Earthquake, Iron Head, Ice Spinner, and Rapid Spin. Max attack, Adamant Nature, 220 attack, and 36 HP. Because we're not able to catch Screamtail naturally, I decided to speed creep this all the way down to the Baxcalibur. The nice part about that is it allows for us to run an Adamant Nature. If Baxcalibur is a Dragon Dance or Gyarados is Dragon Dance, we can just hard switch Iron Treads into both of those Pokemon. If Keegan was to Dragon Dance, then we get our Mirror Herb boost, and then we completely blow back both of those Pokemon, depending on, obviously, Gyarados' Terra type. But if Gyarados Terra Electrics, then we can click Earthquake. If Gyarados Terra Flyings, then we can click Ice Spinner. As for Baxcalibur, we just click Iron Head. once we get our +1 boost, we can 2-hit KO every single Pokemon on his side of the field, if not even Oko it. So really excited for our Iron Treads this week. Fingers crossed that we can make it work out. And our last Mon this week is Chestnut. 248 HP, 216 defense, and 44 speed. This guy is specifically speed creeped to just barely outspeed some of his slower Pokemon, just so that we have the option of going first in certain matchups. It's nothing too specific, it's just enough that we can kind of get by. 216 defense is the maximum amount that we can get out of that, alongside 248 HP. Spikes is really good into Keegan's team, once again, because Serena is the only removal. Low kick allows for us to hit things like Ursaluna. Because Ursaluna could come and it might be bulletproof, it wouldn't be able to be hit with Seed Bomb or Bullet Seed. So opting for low kick allows for us not only to do the most amount of damage to it, but also Tinglu, Iron Hands, and Baxcalibur, as all three of those Pokemon are extremely heavy. That and the Ursaluna being quite heavy itself. So low kick maximizing our damage there. Taunt allows for us to keep things from potentially setting up. If the Gyarados thinks that it can get away with one in front of us, it'll at least force it to only get one off, which is super nice. Same thing with Baxcalibur if it was to be Swords Dance. Super Fang is just here so that we can maximize our damage into something like Screamtail if we think that that is going to switch in, or if we no longer have access to low kick, we can always spam Super Fang into the team. So that's going to be our team for the week. Let's hop on into what our keys to the match are. And the number one key to the match this week is do not let Gyarados get out of hand. That's the most important thing that we need to focus on. A +1, +2, +3 Gyarados can absolutely sweep our team outside of the banded Chien Pao. So we just need to make sure that it's not too out of hand and that we keep our Chien Pao relatively healthy, and we'll be in a really good spot. I'm fairly confident going into this week. Thank you specifically to Shuckle King, my buddy Blake, Owen for the prep help this week. You guys are awesome. Shout outs to you guys. And yeah, let's hop on into the video. This is going to be a fun one. So he's got backs. Lead Tinglu is an option for him. Kleavor looking pretty solid as a lead outside of the Gren though. So I'm going to lead Kleavor. We're going to get our rocks up early as he has no removal, so that's big for us. So we get our rocks up, we get our spikes up, try to stack as much as possible. It'll at least affect the Screamtail and the Tinglu and hopefully the Iron Hands. Baxcalibur probably boots, same thing with Gyarados. We are Mirror Herb on the Iron Treads, that is to hard switch into the Gyarados or the Baxcalibur if either of them want to try to set up. So fingers crossed, week one, let's have a good battle here. Super excited for this one. All right, getting into the game, Oh, this is great. I actually haven't gotten the chance to play Keegan before, so I'm super interested to see how this goes. He leads with O'Brien. Okay, well, taking a little bit to get into it. There we go. So if I had to take a guess as to what he's clicking, it's probably rocks. Could be Runation, definitely not Taunt. X-Scissors going to do a million to him too, but we're just going to take our safe Stone Axe because after this I can just switch into Chestnut. So we're going to Stone Axe here, and we will go into Chestnut after the fact. He's going to withdraw. Be interested to see what he goes into. Toliso. I think I pronounced that correctly. Probably not. We're going to Stone Axe Rocks chunk off into the Iron Hands. Now, Iron Hands in these situations, a little scary. Stone Axe, 13 to 15. Yeah, it's about right. Probably some kind of defense investment into him. Not going to be overly concerned, though, as we are going to go immediately into our Chestnut. So, even if he wants to Ice Punch here, I'm not too afraid. Fire Punch is a little concerning, but, you know, what can we do? We are super defensive on our Chestnut. Don't have to worry about it too much, as Ice Punch is barely a 2-hit KO. CC probably 2-hit KOs us, but then he runs the risk of us being faster. Hitting him with a move, we also can Revenge with Gardevoir after the fact. So he does not have a Fairy Resist, so that's good. We also don't reveal our Scarf just yet, which is great. So we go hard Chestnut, big shiny tanky boy. He does Volt Switch, so this is probably into Gyarados, which could be a slight issue, but not one I'm too concerned about. Because we do have Mirror Herb, Iron Treads in the back. If he doesn't set up, then we can revenge it really easily with something like Chien Pao. So yeah, this is a good spot to be in. Especially if he gives us a DD. Because he's Terra Flying Gyarados. We did have that revealed before the game, so that is something we do know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting here. Because I don't really know what he'd end up going into. Like, Gyarados seems like the safe option, but he also might think I'm like Resist Berry or something along those lines. He does Oko me. Jerky! Yeah, that's the Gyarados. So, it's going to see our leftovers. Terra Flying Terra Blast does nuke us 110% of the time. But we're going hard Iron Treads because I don't think he attacks. I think he knows that I know that he's Terra Flying, which I do, and he DDs here. So I'm going hard into Iron Treads to scare him out. Because even Terra Blast into Waterfall doesn't kill me. +1 Waterfall would kill me, but that means he has to Terra. Or he will have Terra'd at this point, so. Going to assume Terra Blast, or potentially Special Hurricane, also an option. What we're going to see here. Go hard Treads. I'm hoping Terra and D-Dance. Hoping this is the D-Dance. If it is the D-Dance, we're in a really great spot. Because Ice Spinner is going to nuke. Please have Dragon Dance. This would be great. This would be super, super awesome if he DD'd. Did just Terra Blast. That's a little unfortunate. 330 to 261. So that is... ooh. Okay. So things that he has in the back... Not a lot. He is now Terra'd. I am not +1, but I do win this exchange. So I am going to Ice Spinner, because Waterfall cannot KO us from this point unless he's adamant. So I'm going to Spinner here. He might be teching Earthquake, potentially, but also better off clicking... yeah, would have been better off clicking Waterfall there. He goes back into O'Brien. This is good because we're going to get our Ice Spinner damage off on this thing as well as Stealth Rocks. And I'm going to get to kind of see what he's rocking with here. Ice Spinner, we burn the Yachi Berry, which is nice. Minimal, but I'm not going to complain. This is a really free switch. Back into Cleavor, or I could go back into Chestnut. I think I'm actually going to go back into Chestnut, because now that the Gyarados is Terra Flying, I'm not as worried about it. Because when it was a water type, it was definitely not not something I wanted to deal with. But now that it is shown its flying typing, much easier to deal with. So he should probably assume my double here. But even at the same time, like, I don't really lose anything from going Chestnut, I don't think. So let's see, into Chessingtons. He does just rock. That's fine with me. I'm more than okay with that. I do kind of want to taunt. I actually do think I'm going to taunt here. I'm going to taunt on the off chance he goes... Well, he could go back Gyarados. He's a flying type. He could. Taunt does benefit in that sense. Spikes is super nice, though, for everything else on the team. And I can still go into Treads on it, so I am just going to Spike. After seeing that he just raw attacked last time, too,
and that it is Jolly Gyarados. I'm not as scared of going hard Kilowattrel on it. So I get my spikes up. He might spike stack back. We might just both set hazards, which, you know, is what it is. Does just Ruination me. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Joke's on him, I got Super Fang, so I can do the exact same thing back to him, and not have to worry about it all too much. And me getting spikes up is super nice for the late game here. Low kick doesn't do as much as Super Fang in this situation. One layer of spikes plus rocks is super nice. So I'm going to Super Fang here, and I'm going to try to chunk him in whatever he wants to try to pivot out into. Barring like him going hard Greninja or something like that. He could go back into the Gyarados, which I'd be fine with. I'm not going to complain about that. Does withdraw. Hopefully this is the Gyarados and I get some Super Fang chip on it. It is, which is nice. Perfect. And we know it's Boots, so that's good. Also, at this point, Chien Pao revenges this Gyarados every single time, which is awesome. So I don't have to super worry about it getting out of hand. Yeah, Ice Shard does a million, so we're good there. I do want to save this though. I do think he tries to set up a Dragon Dance. I am going hard into Treads. If he wants to Waterfall me, that's fine. That's his play at that point to make. But on a D-Dance, I can really open this game up if he Dragon Dances. So that's kind of what we're hoping for here. Hoping for a little bit of an overplay out of Keegan, because like, he absolutely could just attack me. But the pressure that we've exerted up until this point and having two sets of hazards up is really nice. I'm not also super worried about Baxcalibur because we do have Gardevoir. Gardevoir beats a lot of stuff. Chien Pao also still very, very useful in this matchup, so in a good spot. I'm hoping this is D-Dance. Please be D-Dance. Does Aqua tell me that's going to KO? So that's okay. Oh, we actually lived. Wow. That was a low. That was a roll. That's 100% a roll. There's no way. Unless he's not max attack. In which case, awesome for us. Does Aqua Tail into our Iron Treads. That, I feel like that should have killed. 74 to, so he must not be max attack, which is great for me. In the back, he does have the Ting. I mean, nothing realistically wants to switch in. Even if it's Gren, I can live with that. I could spin here on him switching. Spin might actually be a really good play. Spin might be really nice. Because then I don't have to worry about... It is just a spike, though. No, I'm actually going to spin here. He does withdraw. Nice. This is good. So we're going to outspeed Gren if that's what comes in. Unless it has Shuriken. No, O'Brien. This is great. So I'm going to take this trade every single time. I'm going to get hazards off my side of the field. And then we still have a sack, too, for later. Full Fizz Def, Ting-Lu, obviously. Only going to take 28 to 33% from an Ice Spinner, but I am chipping it completely out of the way, which is something I really want to do. So I'm actually going to stay in and I'm going to Spinner. Because I have ways around the Screen Tail still in the back, so that's okay. And getting rid of hazards is really nice for Chien Pao too. Not having to take the residual, being able to have it come in and out freely, very important. So even if this is a situation where it's like he goes back into Gyarados on a double, like calling me going Chestnut again, nope, he stays in. Hopefully he attacked me. He might have spiked. He body presses. That's fine. It's good cover. In this situation, Gardevoir is also really, really nice. Because like he really has no switch into it at this point. Because like what's in the back? Yeah, it's just the Screen Tail that can realistically switch in. I could also go Cleavor. fire off an X's, or he'll probably end up going into his hands if that's the case. I am just gonna go guard because we don't need to Terra just yet, and I get Vessel, which is great because it means that this thing is now a nuke. So even with Vessel of Ruin up, this is still a KO. And thing in the back that wants to switch into this is just the Screamtail. So I'm going to Moonblast. If Screamtail comes in, then it's Wish Passing, and I get to go into Cleavor and put more pressure on. So I'm okay with this. And every time this thing switches in, it's taking Spike plus Rock, Spike plus Rock, Spike plus Rock. He has to switch again. So this is good. This is probably Screamtail. That looks like a Screamtail nickname if I've ever seen one. Yep, okay, that's okay with me. Moonblast comes out. Good chunk. So the Wish... I don't want this thing T-Waved. That's a big thing for me, is I really don't want it Thunderwaved. So I'm just going to go hard into Cleavor, I think, here. Because Screamtail... It's like a defensive Screamtail. Moonblast, that's about right. Cleavor X Scissors a 2-hit KO, so even if he wishes, that's fine. We're going to go into Cleavor here. It's probably T-Wave from the Screamtail if I had to guess. That'd be what I'd click. But at that point, like, X Scissor is really free into a lot of his team outside of the Iron Hands. But Iron Hands still takes rocks plus... Yeah, nope, T-Wave, good. Could have went Kilo, but Kilo doesn't really net us anything. Like maybe a little bit of additional chip, but if I get that turn wrong, then Kilo's chipped for no reason, and I just don't want that. So he probably wishes here. I'm going to X Scissor. We're just going to force this thing to stay low. Does just hard withdraw. This could be the Gyarados. Nope, it's not. It is back into the Iron Hands, as he should. If you do get X Scissor off, there's going to be a little bit of damage. That's fine. This Iron Hands is really feeling like it is very, very defensive. X's are 16 to 19%. That's about correct for what I'm looking at there. I don't want to catch an Ice Punch here, and I can Revenge with Gardevoir really easily, so I am just going to X Scissor again. If he wants to hit me, he can hit me. I'm okay with that. Close combat's probably going to kill me, but I am Scarf, so I'm at least going to get some damage off on him first. And having this thing chipped for Chien Pao in the back is really, really important. And he knows that. So, like, I got to get him below 50%. If I can get him below 50%, then, like, and that's on, like, him being, like, very, very, very super, ooper, duper defensive. Like, if he's max defense, then we're looking in a situation where we got to get him below, like, 35%. Volt Switch, I stayed in, so this is great. Don't want to give the momentum up. He probably knows I'm Scarf now from the fact that I outsped after being T-Waved. I'm interested to see what he goes into. It's probably the Gyarados. If it is the Gyarados, then we're in a bit of a predicament, but that's okay. Because Chien Pao can still Revenge on the Gyarados, and there's no hazards up, so it's not as scary. That also means he'd have to Dragon Dance. So, I'm okay with that. This is interesting. I do think I have momentum right now. I think I've got a lot of the momentum in this game. I think we're really... It goes into the Gyarados. Yep, that makes sense. So two options here. Gyarados after DD. If I go into Kilo. Waterfall, neutral... It's Aqua Tail. It's a D-Dance. Does a D-Danced Aqua Tail kill me if I am Terra Water? It doesn't. Terra Blast Flying does, though. We may have to just sack Chestnut. I don't really want to, though. Cleavor seems like the more expendable mon at this point. So I am just going to just chip away at this thing that's in front of me. He can Aqua Tail me, that's fine. I know he's not Scarf, so I don't have to really worry about a Scarf Gyarados. He is Moxie though, obviously, as he should be. But in this situation, there's nothing that Chien Pao fears in the back. Like I nuke every single thing that realistically wants to switch into Chien Pao here. So I'm gonna go Chien because there's no hazards up. He's boots. Chien Pao's gonna blow something back because he's gonna find out very, very quickly that I am choice banded, which I'm fine with. I don't really care. So we're gonna crash here. Nothing switches in. Nothing at all switches into this. This is kind of the beauty of Chien Pao. Shout out to Thriller. Thank you so much for being a channel member as well. Here's your lovely Chien Pao. Bit of a plug in the middle of the video. If you guys do become channel memberships, I will absolutely name my Pokemon after you, so you can be on the channel for forever and hopefully be a part of this first win for GBU for Thriller here, and then going forward be a part of the rest of the season. So Chien gets this off. Let's see, goes back in O'Brien. This is a good sack from him. I agree with this play. Because after this he goes Gren, but Gren is more than likely Scarfed. Crash comes out, I do get the KO, which is good. He has to keep Greninja around, which is great. That's like the best thing in the world. This is probably Greninja, or it's the Iron Hands. He could easily go Iron Hands here, but he also doesn't know the set. So he's... If it's Hands, then I'm assuming it's max defense. I'm going to assume this is like highly defensive. And because it more than likely Volt switches, I'm going Kilo, I think. Because Kilowattrel might be the exact amount of damage that I need on this thing to put it into range. Earthquake would kind of suck. Ice Punch would also kind of suck. But it's objectively, it's probably the safest switch because Chestnut's still... Actually, Chestnut's the least useful. We go Chestnut here. He Volt switches, it's fine. We're just going to play the trade game. Just trade sacks for sacks. I'm okay with that. So we're going to bring back our Chien Pao. We just need the hands chipped a little bit more. That's it. If he Volt Switched again, it's a good play. If he Fire Punched or something like that, that's fine. I'm not going to be too concerned. Does Volt Switch again. I'm trying to think if he goes Gyarados, if I should just hard Kilowattrel. He hasn't shown D-Dance at this point, so I'm kind of assuming he's just 4 attacks. It is potentially game losing though, which is like the downside of going into it. Because yeah, this makes sense to me. I also don't know if he clicks a flying move here. I don't know if he would. He also doesn't have a Shadow Ball switching anymore from guard, so it's another thing he has to kind of be a little scared of. Nothing really wants to switch into anything. I don't really want to harden anything here. Letting Chestnut die is probably the best thing we can do because we do have priority in the back, so I'm just going to let him hit me. Terra Blast flying. Yep, this is going to pick up the KO. That's fine. Because we can go guard now. I can also go Kilo. Kilo and Thunderbolt's not like a bad play. Because we're not choiced, right? So I don't have to worry about it too much. He does have backs in the back, which actually makes me more inclined to not want to go Kilo. I could go back Chien Pao, no switch-ins. That's the better play. Because even Greninja doesn't really want to switch into Chien Pao. Greninja. It's gonna be the trade game, which is fine with me. In this situation, I don't think we pick up the KO. No. I can't see him wanting to sack this. I do kind of want a Sacred Sword, but then he gets to come back into the Gyarados, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to crash. I'm going to punish whatever he wants to switch in. Don't care all too much. If I miss crash, we miss crash. That's just part of the game. Nice. So he does sack the Gyarados, which is great. So that's one thing super out of the way, which is really nice for me. I actually think he should have kept that because like Baxcalibur here is not scary to me. Might be a little scary. Nope, Taliso. I mean, I'm going Kilo. I go Kilo every single time on this thing. Because then Guard can come in, be Choice Scarfed, be a problem. And then we're in a good spot. Maybe I don't. He could also just attack. Could just hard attack, and that would suck. Iron Hands into Gardevoir. This is a very important turn. I don't see a world where he wild charges me. I'm actually going to go hard guard here. He might Volt Switch again, but I also can't make that call. Because if he does, like, does Drain Punch, nice. So we get this right, which is awesome. So now I get a Moonblast for free. For freezies. And instead of Moonblasting, I might even Shadow Ball. I do think we actually Shadow Ball here. Because he knows Moonblast. Like, Guard's not killing Screamtail. So I'm going to Shadow Ball. I think he switches again. I think it's his best play. Yep. This is probably Scream again. Big turn. Big turn, big turn, big turn. Nice. So you do get that turn right. Greninja. How much does Greninja take from a Shadow Ball? How much does Greninja take from a Protean Shadow Ball? 32 to 37. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. He might just sack again. I'm fine going Kilo on Grin because at least I get to know what its set is. But getting this thing out of the way is the most important thing in the world. So here we are. Here we are. Because it's definitely Scarf Greninja. T-Wave. He's Scarf Screamtail. You dirty dog. You dirty dog, you. Does Baxcalibur just beat me now? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. I think our only play at this point, because I think Baxcalibur does beat us now. That was a really good bring if that was Scarf Screamtail that whole time. That's really nasty. Yeah, I think that's it. I think he knows. He knows. Tough. Do Trace Thermal Exchange. I don't think that's going to be enough to keep this thing from doing what it wants to do. Let's see, Baxcalibur, Shadow Ball, 42 to 50. Yeah, I'd have to crit here, which would be very hacksy. I don't outspeed anymore. Kilo definitely doesn't outspeed. Chien Pao is in the back, and we didn't bring Sucker, so I am just going to have to Shadow Ball. And hopefully we don't get paired. He does just crash. I thought he'd DD. Oh, we lived. Shadow Ball comes out. Big hit here. Man, that was like a min roll on that then. I definitely thought he'd Dragon Dance. I'm not gonna lie. That makes me think he doesn't have D-Dance at all. I do want to keep this because Vacuum Wave or just any kind of damage into that Iron Hands is really useful. Do I lose the game if I go Chien Pao right now? No, I might actually win the game if I go Chien Pao right now. Especially if he's choice locked. I'm going Chien. It's either game winning or game losing, so we're going to see. Hindsight might have been wrong, but based on the roll, I don't think he's max attack, and I just don't think he clicks anything. I don't think he clicks Glaive here. He crashed again. Shouldn't do a lot. Ooh. 301 to 198. 198. He might be boosting item at that point, but what he has in the back can't switch into this, and backs at this range loses, so I can still beat Gren if it's not choice, because we have Vacuum Wave on guard and I can Protean into it. I'm gonna crash here. He doesn't have a switch. Even Greninja's 2 KO'd. Oh, he's Scarf. We live. We're good. No flinch, no flinch, no flinch, no flinch, no flinch. Yes! Big. That is really good damage for him, though. He does know that. I know he knows that. It's a very crucial damage for him. This might come down to just a damage roll on the Iron Hands, depending on how defensive he is, because I know I'm going to get a Vacuum Wave off on it. So in my head, here's how this goes. I go Kilo, and then we go Gren. Or he goes Gren. Scarf backs is crazy. I definitely thought DD. That's a really good bring, though, in his part, like double Scarfer. Because Scream's also Scarfed. It's coming down to the wire. This is a great game, though. Like, I don't know how much more to put this into words. Like, playing Keegan is like so much fun. This is I've been really looking forward to this matchup specifically because I know Keegan's a really good player, and it's really fun to play really good players because you kind of get to feel out the game in a different way, where you know what they're thinking, what like risk management and stuff like that, and you gotta kind of play around that. Nuama. So we don't see Boots. Greninja. I'm assuming he is of the choice Scarf variety. Because if he's not, we outspeed with Kilo and we can win this game. That involves sacking Gardevoir right now. The other thing is Gardevoir, Vacuum Wave, if it's Protean. $56. I don't know if Killer lives a Specs hit. Killer probably doesn't. How much time we got? I have 15 seconds. Kilo. Dark Pulse doesn't kill. Hydro will. Ooh, going Kilo. Because Vacuum Wave is very important. And Ice Shard can win. I'm also assuming Choice Scarf, and he might have clicked U-turn. So that could be really big for us too. Surf. We live a Surf. I think I live a Surf. Unless he's Specs. He's not Specs. This is great. This is ideal. This is ideal. This is ideal. Okay. Battle. Terra Water. I think Thunderbolt and the Terra Blast can win this game. Yep. I'm like 90% sure Thunderbolt and the Terra Blast can win this game. We T-Bolt here. He can go into the other thing if he wants, but then this thing is low. Be a great win. Be a great win. Down to the wire too. This has been awesome. I can't say that enough. I know I'm gonna say it a lot, but like, it's been a treat. We just got to get the Iron Hands into range, which is all I'm thinking about. And if he's not Water Shuriken, which I don't know if he is. Water Shuriken to Terra Water Kilo. He's not specs based on the damage, so it's 16 to 20%, and I'm at 75. Thunderbolt comes out. We do pick up the KO, which is great, which means we're going to win this game. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. That's so big. So freaking big. Nice. So this guy comes out. We're going to Terra Blast Water, unless he's like a Rest Talk set, which I'm really hoping he's not, considering he used Volt Switch. Kilo fires off Terra Blast. I don't mind sacking this. I want the damage. Yep, that's exactly what we needed. Drain Punch. We do die. It's not going to be a lot, though. It's only 75 HP. I'm fairly convinced that's range. Does Gardevoir outspeed Iron Hands? If I'm T-waved. If I'm paralyzed. I should, unless he's like crept way up. So we're going to go guard first. Hopefully we don't get parried. We're going to Moonblast. Hopefully it's not paralysis. But if it is, it is. Chien Pao still has a chance to win the game, so. Crash to like, oh, we don't. Nice. Let's go. Big win. Nice. Great way to start off a season. I think that's the first time since like BBR Season 4 we've started off the season on a win, which is so big. GG's to Keegan. You guys should really go check him out. He's on the road to 400 subscribers, trying to get there by the end of the year. Makes great content. Also, really good at Magic the Gathering. So please go check him out. He's also a fellow Canadian, which, you know, how important it is to me to show Canadian representation on the channel. So please go check out Keegan. He's one of my Canadian brethren from across the nation. GG's, man. Thank you so much for being the first game of the week. We do take week 1 2-0. We're going to hop into our Freshen Up Energy 3 stars the game. I'll see you guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Freshen Up Energy 3 stars of the game. Big thank you to Freshen Up for once again partnering up with me, and I wanted to kind of give a little bit back here. So if you guys can, links down below. Use code DEL at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your next order at Freshen Up Energy. The 3 stars for tonight's game. Number 3. We have Gyarados. Keegan's Gyarados put in a ton of work this week. Had me super on the ropes the entire game. Almost ran away with it. Thank goodness we pulled it out in the end. But yeah, Keegan's Gyarados, big performance this week. The second star of tonight's game goes to Gardevoir. 2 knockouts, including a very crucial game-winning knockout at the end, making it so that I didn't have to take a potential roll on an Icicle Crash. Pulls out the game-winning KO. Big ups to Gardevoir in the number 2 spot. And our first star of the game goes to none other than Chien Pao. Big win for Chien Pao this week. Pulled out 3 KOs, all crucial knockouts. Wouldn't have been able to win this game without Chien Pao. I cannot stress that enough. Between Chien Pao and Gardevoir, these two absolutely carried, and Gyarados almost gave us a run for our money. Wanted to say thank you guys so much for checking out the video this week. Like I said, likes, subscribe, bell notifications down below. Check out Freshen Up Energy. Use code DEL, that's DEL, for 20% off your first order. It is caffeinated, so please, 18 plus only. Yeah, and have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, guys. Happy weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.